to blaming. You know, they were making, how many times have we heard they were making a lifestyle choice?
It remains and always has been our priority to find Nicola as soon as possible and to bring her back to her family. Her family continues to be supported by specially trained officers who update the family daily, and
okay? Now this is really important because he does actually say it, but let me finish.
And in terms of
Right.
Yeah, it just said that the phone was moved towards the bench area, and that was between 9:10, someone seeing her on the upper field, to 9:20. That's where the phone was moved to, and actually subsequently left. All while still logged on this Teams call, a meeting.
So she's not walking all this time,
Let's just stop it there. Something just happened there, which I want you to see, and that is the dog that's just appeared on the bottom of your screen. This is really important, this bit. This is more important that this is something that everyone has missed. I want you to keep an eye on that dog who is not on a lead. Remember I told you that Penny, who owns the caravan site, she has put just behind that dog that's off of a lead, and maybe we'll even see it later on in the footage, on the tree, a great big amateur sign, which has clearly been put up by the caravan site because of the livestock that they've got. Dogs must be kept on a lead. And the reason they say that is because they don't want dogs running around their livestock or their poultry and stuff like that. It's very, very, very important that you watch from this point.
because it's not a very far distance for her to move.
No, and maybe the dog is running around. Maybe the dog off the lead running around. Perhaps Willow has gone off somewhere.
Okay, so now what you've got is you've got the dog that's off the lead, and you've just seen a man appear on screen there. You can see him just appearing there. We're going to speak to this man in just a moment. His name is Ron, okay? And I want you to hear exactly what goes on there.
Calling Willow, maybe, but she's not moving quickly. We can safely say that because the upper field to the bench ain't really that far.
Also, the two witnesses that saw Nicola Bulley walking, she's doing her loop. Okay, they've kind of crossed each other in the upper field. The one that knows her, the one that the police have spoken to, well, they all do the loop, right? And the loop is only from the upper field to the bench is only 5-6 minutes, even though it's taken her 10-12 minutes to get to the bench or the phone to be moved 10 minutes. Why is it that one of those witnesses was not the witness that found the dog and the harness and the phone? Okay, now I want you to think about that as well as we move on to the next stage.
Doggy coming, and just to illustrate, this is where the dog walkers come all the time.
Well, there we are. There's a dog off of his lead, and there's the owner of that dog. Okay. Now you might be thinking, so what? Right? It's where dog walkers go. It's 9:10, 3 weeks to the day that Nicola's gone missing. And this, in all the time that they've been doing this video, and this is the first dog walker, but this is no ordinary dog walker.
Her partner came along, Paul, and he's retraced these steps many times, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. And he came down pretty much straight away. You know, he wanted to see what was the scene like, what happened here straight away. Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Come on
Hi,
through.
do come
How are
through.
you?
No, not at all.
Okay, so a lot of people have been saying this is staged. It's not staged. This guy lives very nearby, and he takes his dog, which I've paused it there so you can see the dog's having a nice, great big shit on camera. But okay, we're not watching that in real time because you probably wouldn't have picked up on that. And you can see now the reporter in the red. I'm sorry, I don't know her name. I should have done some more work on that, but it really wasn't important what her name was. She's looking at this guy, and so is he. And clearly, the guy on the right in the glasses, the sidekick reporter, he knows this guy.
To see you. Well, it has been like that. So you actually, you saw the phone, is that right? Yeah. You saw the phone that Friday morning? Yes. Yeah, and that was around, was it after 9:30?
I gave a full statement to the police with the exact time because my wife's telephone call had the time on it, so.
Okay, so what does he mean by that? What he means is that when he saw the phone and the dog running around, that's what he said. He phoned his wife, or his wife phoned him, and the time of that call is logged, and that's how they know the time that he saw the dog. Okay, so this is really important at this point. I can't, if there was a Richter scale here, let's go right up here, because this is more important than you realise.
Was it just on the bench, or was it just?
So here's a guy that, was it just on the bench? Pardon? You throw me a bit. Like, what was on the bench? Well, what else would be on the bench other than the phone? When people are unsure about how to reply, they reply the question before the answer. So if someone thinks, oh my goodness, I've got to be careful how I answer this, what they do is they go, what was on the bench? So let's hear that again, and you'll see what I mean.
My wife's telephone call had the time on it, so I've given a full statement.
Was it just on the bench, or was it just on the bench? Yeah.
How's the last 3 weeks been?
So when he come through there, he's saying that the phone was just on the bench, right? And the dog was running around, okay? Now, the guy on the left, the sidekick reporter, okay, he has just got that out of Ron, the dog walker, and at this moment in time, I never picked up anything about Ron, right? I had to watch this about 10 or 12 times to get the point I'm about to get. And it's so important. Guys, listen to me. This is so important that you listen to what I've got to say here.
Each day something new comes out, doesn't it?
And in terms of, when you saw phone, lead, and Willow, you knew who Nicola was.
No, I didn't.
You knew Willow, that was it, wasn't it? You knew Willow.
I knew I'd seen.
So, very defensive there. So you knew Nicola? No, I didn't. He almost in a minute points to the reporter and says, I know your face, but I don't know your name. Very defensive, and I'll tell you why in just a second.
Both the orders of Willow, walking this dog in the past. Whilst I knew them by the face, practically your face, and you've got the name.
But I remember you actually telling me when you saw the phone, the lead, and Willow, you were like, okay, I'm going to keep an eye on it because something doesn't feel right.
I got somebody go to the toilet
okay? Now this is really important because he doesn't actually say it, but let me finish that sentence off for Ron, right? I thought that, someone had gone to the toilet in the caravan side, okay? The caravan side. So stay with me on this. He's basically saying he was the first one there. He's the first one there. This sends a shiver up my spine about what you're about to hear from me because you haven't picked up on this, and nor has the armchair detectives, but I have. He's the first one there. He's admitted the phone was on the bench. He's admitted the harness or lead, as they say, was in front of the bench, and the dog was running around. He thought it was unusual, but he thought maybe someone had just gone to the toilet over in the caravan side. Okay, there is a reason he didn't say caravan site, and I'm going to tell you what that is now.
You know, I got about this red brick building here, and this is not right. And then there was a conversation, but my wife was trying to ring me, I was trying to ring her. Penny had rung my wife.
Penny had rung my wife. Okay, so Ron is not a young man. He is in conversation, jumping ahead of himself. We don't know who Penny is, do we? I mean, I've just told you who Penny was. Penny was ringing my wife. Penny is the caravan owner. She owns the caravan site, okay? She's the one that's put dogs must be on a lead. Can you see Ron's dog is not on a lead? Ron's dog's not on a lead because Ron's wife is the sister of Penny. I've checked all this out. So Ron's wife, he was trying to ring his wife, but she was busy on the phone talking to Penny, or Penny was calling the wife. Either way, right? Now watch what happens.
To say that you should fasten the dog up that was
And Penny was the lady who actually spotted Willow initially and saw the phone but didn't know what was going on.
Right, this is where it gets really, really strange here. Okay. Ron is the brother-in-law of Penny. Ron said that when he come through the gate, the dog was running around and the phone was on the bench. Penny is the sister of Ron's wife. Now listen to what he says again there. Let's hear what he says again. I want you to listen to this. This is really important.
But the fact that they were in the divers and underwater rescue team and all that were in that river on the day, and thankfully found absolutely nothing in the part where you would, I guess, have to presume is her last known location. If you take all those things into account, of the unlikeliness of it, you know, you would have to sort of say that really the river isn't what happened. And so we always felt that the mobile phone and the harness and everything, it could possibly be a decoy. Again, we don't have evidence.
No, but these okay. Now this is really important because he doesn't actually.
Yeah. But I remember you actually telling me when you saw the phone, the lead and Willow, you were like, okay, I'm going to keep an eye on it because something doesn't feel right.
I got something got to the toilet
Okay. Now this is really important because he doesn't actually say it. But let me finish that sentence off for Ron, right? I thought that someone had gone to the toilet in the caravan site. Okay.
Willow initially and saw the phone but didn't know what was going on.
Right, this is where it gets really, really strange here. Okay. Ron is the brother-in-law of Penny. Ron said that when he come through the gate, the dog was running around and the phone was on the bench. Penny is the sister of Ron's wife. Now listen to what he says again there. Let's hear what he says again. I want you to listen to this. This is really important.
This is not right. And then there was a conversation, but my wife was trying to ring me, I was trying to ring her. Penny had rung my wife to say that you should fasten the dog up that was.
Penny had phoned his wife to say that she'd fasten the dog to the bench. He said that when he walked through the gate to see the dog running around, that the dog was not attached to the bench. He said that the dog was running around. And in fact, his report that he gave to the police said that when he got to that gate, the dog was running between the bench and the gate to the bench to the gate, blah-de-blah-de-blah-de. But now he's saying that Penny, his sister-in-law, had phoned his wife, who he doesn't say who his wife's name is, and said that she'd found the dog and fastened it to the bench. If you missed that, we'll do that for you again. This is very important.
I got about this red brick building here, and this is not right. And Dad, there was conversation, but my wife was trying to ring me, I was trying to ring her. I need to rung my wife, to say that she should fasten the dog up that was.
Penny was the lady who actually spotted Willow initially and saw the phone, but didn't know what was going on with the phone.
That's right, yeah.
And then after that,
Every opportunity there for Ron to say, yeah, Penny is my sister-in-law, by the way. Every opportunity. In fact, he talks about Penny as if she's a complete stranger. Penny is the reason Penny's phoning his wife, right? How does Penny know his wife? I've already done that bit of work for you guys. Penny is the sister of Ron's wife. And he's now said, so Penny was the one that found the dog first, and now he's changed his tune. He's going, yeah. He's lost. In fact, I am shocked that nobody has picked up on this so far. Okay, I mean, this gets crazier by the second. They've, bumped into Ron, and he's all over the place. You know when you catch someone that knows more than meets the eye? This is what they do. They're all over the bloody place, and he's all over the bloody place. Our friend Ron here is all over the place. Why didn't he say, I must say my wife is related to Penny that owns the caravan site? Why did he stop short of saying, I just thought that she'd gone into, go to the toilet? And here's another thing. Penny knows Paul and Ron knows Paul, yet he said he did not know who Paul and Nicola was. He knew who they were because Paul, through business, had a connection to the caravan site. You check this out. Check it out. It's all there. It's all there, guys. You check it out.
What happened? Well, the next step then it was just a progression of things happening.
So 1 minute, Ron is saying he does not know who Nicola and Paul is. When you don't know somebody, you then don't all of a sudden start talking of that person in a familiar way. You don't all of a sudden say, you don't say the name. You go, yeah, then I made a phone call to the school and then the owner come down. No, he doesn't say that. All of a sudden is very familiar with Paul. And that's when Paul came down. And you'll hear that now.
We found out, because of the wallpaper on the phone, we found out who the couple were, then the school was contacted and Paul arrived.
And then Paul arrived. Not the owner arrived. We found out through the wallpaper. I mean, he's using, it should have been screensaver, but okay, he's using that. And also, I'm not sure if you're still logged on to a conference call, whether or not the wallpaper, as he called it, the screensaver comes on. Right? I mean, if you're on a conference call, the screen stays on the conference call. They were saying that the conference call was still logged on when they found the phone. But now Ron is saying, well, I looked at the wallpaper, he looked at the screensaver. Poor old Ron, I'd like to put him in a room and say to him, okay, Ron, let's start from the beginning. Let's start from the beginning. Did you see the dog running around or didn't you? Because at the beginning of this interview, you said the dog was running around. And then as the interview went on with our friend here that had inadvertently caught you out, which even he didn't notice, all of a sudden Penny, your sister-in-law, had previously been there and tied the dog to the bench. Fasten the dog, whatever words you used. Does that sound right to you guys? Does any of this sound right to you? It's bullshit is what it is.
With that.
Jerry Williamson from Bauer Media. It took Peter Folding and SGI 3 days to determine that Nicky wasn't in that stretch of river. How long will it take Lancashire Police, and how long will you continue searching the River Wye until you come to the same determination?
And again, it's probably something I can take. The search efforts, both water-based and land-based, continues this week. There are police assets, including underwater search officers, continuing that exercise this week. Water is an inherently...
days to determine that Nicky wasn't in that stretch of river. How long will it take Lancashire Police, and how long will you continue searching the River Wye until you come to the same determination?
And again, it's probably something I can take. The search efforts, both water-based and land-based continues this week. There are police assets, including underwater search officers, continuing that exercise this week.
Believe this is you or you recognise the woman, please get in touch. They have also confirmed a timeline from the morning Nicola was alive. We have just released a new image of a potential witness in the disappearance of Nicola Bulley. They are looking for this woman pictured here, walking her dog in the same area that Nicola Bulley went missing. They say that the search is
could identify her because she came across as very to what her family were going through. I think also people could identify her because she came across as very
Into context of what's happened in this very quaint village over the last 3 weeks, we know that Nicola Bulley,
the picture, they were clearly working on a hypothesis. The picture, they were clearly sort of blaming, they were making, how many times have we heard they were making the lifestyle choice?
dog Willow's been spending a bit of time with us as well, and it's also that thing that Willow may well have seen.
I know.
To Nicky.
I know, and that's another layer of frustration and hell to it, and then also
Update the family daily and support them in other ways. Specially trained officers who update the family daily and support. Our priority to find Nicola as soon as possible and to bring her back to her family. Her family continues to be supported by specially trained officers who update the
that it really was unnecessary. I would say it was unlawful because that was highly confidential information, and I don't think it added anything to the picture. They were clearly
where she disappeared, or where she was last seen, along that riverbank in those two fields where she used to walk her dog. They were captivating photographs, and they showed her in most cases looking very happy, which of course was in complete contrast to what her family were going through. I think also people could identify her. People watching on, Nicky is a face on a poster at the moment. Tell us a bit about her. What's she like?
Yeah, and all of that, and Murdo Fraser. It is now time for it to go, and I think for once the Tories have been able to manipulate a sort of agenda against the transgender folk. I think they've pushed that, which has finally been the straw that's broke the camel's back, if you like.
And what was your assessment of how she handled that?
She could have done better, but I think the constant pressure, the bullying tactics that the Tories have used up in Scotland. Now, I'm on Twitter, and Stephen Kerr and all of that, and Murdo Fraser, they are quite relentless.
This morning in the press conference, how was she bullied? Oh, no, it's pointless. Utterly pointless. I tried
Curving down all this stuff about it. This is where Nicola Sturgeon fell over on the transgender stuff.
I didn't say that.
It wasn't Nicola Sturgeon's thing.
I didn't say that.
It was a cross-party thing.
I didn't say that. She was asked the question she was asked the question this morning she was bullied. Nicola Sturgeon was bullied. She was bullied. How was she bullied?
That's why she's left.
How was she bullied?
She's fed up with all this rubbish.
But the question this morning in the press conference, how was she bullied? Oh, no, it's pointless. Utterly pointless. I tried.
With that.
Jerry Williamson from Bauer Media. It took Peter Folding and SGI 3 days to determine that Nicky wasn't in that stretch of river. How long will it take Lancashire Police, and how long will you continue searching the River Wye until you come to the same determination?
And again, it's probably something I can take. The search efforts, both water-based and land-based, continues this week. There are police assets, including underwater search officers, continuing that exercise this week. Water